Just a quick reminder, the views expressed on the RGV Community Health Hour are for informational purposes only and do not constitute medical advice. Be sure to consult your primary care provider for all your healthcare needs. And with that, we're going to take a music break and be right back with RGV Community Health Hour. And we're back, everyone. So yesterday, before I get started on speaking, I just wanted to share that today we don't have a guest. I unfortunately was not able to go 4 for 4 this month and getting guests to come talk about breast cancer related stuff, but I do appreciate everyone who did come on this month to talk about their journey in treating and ultimately winning their fight against breast cancer, and also our guest last week who talked about the research and the work she's done with breast cancer. So tried really hard to get someone from Texas Oncology to come on. Unfortunately, obviously the oncologists and doctors are very busy doing their day-to-day work. So hopefully, regardless if it's breast cancer or not, I still do want to have an episode where we bring someone on to talk to them about the work they do in terms of that field. But I did last Friday stop by somewhere else to loop in another guest, UTRGV professor and someone who grew up here locally. So she's got a great story that I'd like for her to share, hopefully sometime in November. And with that, I just wanted to talk about for a second the ribbon cutting ceremony for our new building. If you've listened into any of my past episodes, you know that, and I think they're starting to put them on YouTube. Don't hold me to that, but should be on soon. So yeah, with the previous episodes, we've talked about, the Diversity Center and our PhD in Human Genetics program and all the other things that kind of encompass the department or the division, right? The Human Genetics Division of the School of Medicine. And so yesterday they had a big ribbon cutting ceremony there at our new building. And so if you're wondering why that giant tent was up and all those parking spots were taken, that's what it was for. And I know some of them were curious because my classmate Marco, who's also been a guest on my show, I was trying to loop him in, but he's doing some training right now. Someone he knows asked him, she was like, "Hey, what was going on with that event?" And we of course, we told her what was going on, the ribbon cutting ceremony. But so for those curious ones out there, it was what was going on, just the ribbon cutting ceremony for our new building that has technically been open for 2 or 3 months now. But, I guess they just wanted to wait till everything was cooling down a little bit, and of course, timelines and scheduling everybody to make sure all the important people can make and attend the event. So I just want to read something off the internet and I really recommend y'all looking that up. Go Google search UTRGV ribbon cutting ceremony genetics, and you can pull up a bunch of stuff about it. So I'm going to read this really short article from 6 hours ago. It is on valleycentral.com. The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley held a ribbon cutting on Monday celebrating the opening of its School of Medicine Center for Human Genetics building. The UTRGV CHGB, that's the Center for Human Genetics building, will expand research capabilities and deliver life-changing results to the Valley community and beyond. It will house scientists studying basic principles of genetics and genomics as they apply to human disease, addressing the Valley's major public health issues, including obesity, cardiovascular diseases, fatty liver disease, liver cancer, Alzheimer's disease, depression. It will also provide office and conference space to support research in human genetics and the PhD program in human genetics at UTRGV School of Medicine. The 17,246 square foot facility is funded by a grant from the Valley Baptist Legacy Foundation and support from the UT System Permanent University Fund. The facility will conduct research studies focused on the Mexican American population in South Texas and represents a significant leap forward for a region disproportionately affected by these conditions. So it's got a great video as well that, shows video from the event. And of course, also my classmate Marco talking about, the different stuff that we do here. So highly recommend going and checking that out. And of course, feel free to stop by the building, ask questions, inquire about our PhD program. We're always trying to recruit new students that come in, whether that's to actually do the graduate program or to volunteer in the lab. Last I counted, we have, I want to say, 6, 7 undergraduate volunteers working in our lab doing various things. Some of them are doing proteomics, learning about um, protein analysis and identification. And we have other ones doing immunohistochemistry work, basically um, mounting tissues on slides to check for virus presence, depending on, you can do it IHC on various protein, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, proteins of interest, I guess, just certain things you're trying to figure out whether it's in the tissue or not. And so, yeah, so if you're really interested in getting some lab experience or interested in a graduate program here at UTRGV, definitely swing by. I don't know. I would assume that there's going to be a grad fair soon. I want to say we did grad fairs in both fall and spring last year, so unless I missed it already, because I've been kind of busy with my dissertation work. But so yeah, new building, come check it out. And with that, staying in the realm of science, I do want to share some flyers that I've been seeing around campus. So part of this platform and having this show is using it to share opportunities to volunteer to be a participant in a study. And I've seen these all over campus. Let's see, it says, "We are recruiting. Subject. Our research aims to understand the lifestyle, culture, and genetics for dementia-related cognitive disorders. With your help, future findings will benefit the community and improve clinical care." So the requirements to be a subject in this study, 45 years or older, Hispanic heritage, Alzheimer's disease or related dementia, not required, living in the Rio Grande Valley. Procedures done, filling out consent form, answering questions related to culture, values, lifestyle, etc., collection of 1 to 2 milliliters of saliva sample. And you can contact Chun Zhu, CHUN.ZU, or XU, at utrgv.edu. Again, that's CHUN.XU at utrgv.edu or 956-882-4193. And that is, again, for research aiming to understand the lifestyle, culture, and genetics for dementia-related cognitive disorders. And let's see, there was another one I saw. I think that was more recent. Yes, here we go. Are you struggling with depression? Is your medication not helping? If you're between 18 and 75 years old and suffer from recurrent depression and have a desire to reduce or stop alcohol consumption, we might be able to help. 956-296-7777 or email at lfn-alaunus@utrgv.edu. And that's from the Institute of Neuroscience. So if anything, struggling with depression, medication not helping, reach out to the Institute of Neuroscience. And I was reading something recently about that. So a researcher here at UTRGV is bringing kind of this cutting edge treatment for depression. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what that study could be related to in terms of trying this new. Well, I can't say that it's new. I don't know much about the field, but new to the valley, I'd say. So this treatment that's available now for people here living in the valley, that you can just go and I want to say they are using like ultra high frequencies, like ultrasound or things like that on your brain to just try to, help with depressive symptoms without using medication or, any type of pharmacological kind of intervention, I guess you could say. So definitely reach out if you're, interested in looking that stuff up. And like I said, there's a really interesting article. I didn't get to read through it because it's a bit long, but really interesting article to learn about this researcher and the work she does. And it'd be really good to have her on. So I'll be reaching out to her soon as well. Just kind of busy with all the things going on. I leave tomorrow for Arizona for a trip, a conference called SACNAS, and it stands for the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos and Native Americans in Science. I think that's what it is. And so every year they do a conference where they get um, Hispanic and Native American, and really all people, of course, are invited to go and just get together and celebrate culture and community. And I'm really interested, excited to go because this will be my first time there. And I've been wanting to go since I was an undergrad, so really looking forward to it. But with that, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. I just got to say, Logic is such a great artist, and his new album, Ultra 85, you can just let that thing go on play because it's just hit after hit after hit. And of course, the same with Killer Mike, won Rap Album of the Year. So shout out to those albums. Been getting me by over the summer and into the semester. But back to health related stuff. Not that that's not health related because good music makes our brain happy. But I found another article by UTRGV about the new building. So I'm not going to hash through the stuff that I already read that's similar to what I read before, but I will read some more interesting details that I think will be informative to those listening to the show. So it says here, this is a quote from Guy Bailey, our president of the university. It says, our researchers have been working to identify the genetic roots of diabetes and obesity for years, and now with this incredible facility, we can expand that work in ways we only dreamed of before, Bailey said. This will directly benefit the people of the Valley whose health and quality of life have been long impacted by these diseases. Advancing research is the next section. Dr. Sarah Williams Blanguero, chief of the UTRGV School of Medicine's Division of Human Genetics and director of the South Texas Diabetes and Obesity Institute, said, the Center for Human Genetics is set to become a hub for groundbreaking research focused on the genetic factors that influence diseases all too prevalent in the Rio Grande Valley. The facility includes a MRI suite, so we have our own MRI to do research with, a genetic sequencing laboratory, as well as office and conference spaces designed to support human genetics research and will provide researchers with the resources needed to make significant strides in improving health outcomes, and it will open the door to more complex studies, she said. Our work on imaging genomics is critical for understanding diabetes and obesity, but also brain disorders and liver diseases, which are closely tied to metabolic health. So imaging genomics is just the study of our genome, which is essentially our DNA, right? All our genes and all the genes are within the DNA, and the DNA make up all the chromosomes. And so basically when they say genomics, they're kind of just referring to genes in our DNA, which are critical for everything they code for proteins that are responsible for everything in our body. And some are non-coding as well, so just kind of being general about some of this, but continuing on, where did I leave off? Sorry. Now we can conduct these studies right here in the Valley instead of relying on facilities elsewhere. Researchers will have access to important tools for studies related to psychiatric conditions, including major depressive disorder, which has affected almost 35% of adult Mexican Americans in South Texas. Williams Blanguero said the center not only advances cutting-edge research, but also ramps up training for the next generation of scientists. Our PhD program in human genetics is training future geneticists right here in the Valley, she said. This new facility provides students with state-of-the-art laboratories, giving them the hands-on experience they need to thrive in the field. Game changer for the Valley. In South Texas, where 1 in 3 adults suffer from diabetes, the Center for Human Genetics will be a game changer, Williams Blanguero said. This center is here for the people of the Valley. It's about understanding why these diseases are so prevalent in our community, using that knowledge to find better treatments, and ultimately to prevent them altogether, she said. The data gathered from local residents participating in ongoing studies will help researchers develop personalized treatment strategies, ensuring that the discoveries made in the valley directly apply to those who need solutions the most. Which is why I want to try to share as many studies as I can, because we need to recruit as many people as we can at these studies, because for every 100 that say they're going to show up, we're lucky to get 3. So please, 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 if you qualify for any of these studies, keep an eye out and try to participate if you can. Since arriving at UTRGV a decade ago to establish the South Texas Diabetes and Obesity Institute, Williams Blangiero and researchers in human genetics have secured more than $110 million in funding, leading to the publication of over 450 scientific papers over those 10 years. Hawker, dean of the UTRGV Medical School, predicts the center's work will have an impact well beyond the valley, given its collaborations involving more than 90 institutions around the world. We have a world-renowned group of researchers in genetics and diabetes, he said. This facility is state-of-the-art, and there's some incredible research happening in the Rio Grande Valley that's going to change lives for people in our community. And so that's all I'm going to say about that today, but I just thought it was important to share that it really, I know I say it all the time, and Dr. Galan, one of my previous guests, has said it too. We have world-renowned researchers in our department here in Brownsville. We do world-class research with next-level scientific instrumentation. So if you're interested in anything science, if you know anybody who is interested in anything science, tell them to swing by, send an email, look them up online. It's not too hard to find anybody from that department. Just Google search UTRGV Human Genetics and send an email out to somebody. Preferably lower on the totem pole, so that way your email gets responded to, because they're all so busy and always getting bombarded with emails. And so a quick update from Elvia, our first guest from this month who shared her breast cancer journey with us. I just reached out to her earlier today to check if there was anything, she wanted to share or any updates. And so this is what she responded. She's currently in Houston still, like I had mentioned last week with our guest last week, Dr. Kennery, that chances are, that she was still over in Houston. And so 3 days away from completing physical treatment and done with radiation on Friday and get to ring that bell. Thursday, I had my scans and was declared no evidence of disease. I am cancer-free. Wow. Man, that's so awesome, Elvie. I'm so happy for you. I don't know if you're listening right now, but I have to fight back the tears again. Oh, man, this is so amazing, and I'm so happy for you. And for any of those going through that journey, just stay strong and stick with it. And just keep fighting, because, you're not alone in it. And there's a lot of people in your corner. So, like always, reach out to me or to her. She's shared her organization, TTs for Tatas, I want to say. But, yeah, look her up if you need any support or know anybody who needs support in terms of their breast cancer journey. So thank you for that update, Elvia. Thank you again for coming on on my show, or our show, the community show, and sharing your story with us. And so with that, I need to take a quick music break to recover for that. So stay tuned, everyone. Thanks. All right. So back from music break, I have been messaging Elvia, and we'll be getting the link to her organization's website here soon. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to share 2 things before the next music break. The first being the aspect of air quality and air pollution. I've mentioned it on the show before, but I kind of just want to reiterate it because it's really important in terms of our health as a community and as an individual. So I like to run. I haven't been doing too much of it lately in the last couple weeks because, life is crazy. Not that that's an excuse, because even when my life is crazy, most other weeks I still manage to make time to run. But it's been a bit extra crazy with my wife being out of state for work. So anyway, I like to run, and I always monitor the air quality, not just for that, but just for general. My daughter is very sensitive to, she's asthmatic, so she's sensitive to the air quality, and didn't really realize how sensitive she was to the air quality until we moved down here. Um, but I was sharing my running stories with somebody recently, and they told me that they were a marathon runner, and I was kind of blown away. I was like, whoa, that's really awesome. And so they were just telling me their running stories, and then I mentioned to them, like, hey, if you ever go out running, just kind of make sure, of course, the air quality is never going to be perfect and clean, in terms of the parts per million or the PMs, um, particulate matter in the air. But whenever it's really high, you might be doing more damage going out for that run and breathing in that terrible air than doing good. So I just, you know, wanted to make that point in terms of, because obviously you run in order to keep yourself healthy and try to stay, in good health. And of course, stay fit and stay lean and stay strong. All those other things on top of, being a consistent runner. But ultimately, I feel like most people run for the cardio workout, obviously, to get the endurance and also to stay healthy. And so just wanted to point that out because that air pollution, the more I learn about it, the worse and worse I kind of, frown upon it. And so hopefully one of these years we can get politicians here in Texas. And I know that there are other states that have actually started to try to sue states in terms of like, yo, if you're polluting your air, make sure that air doesn't drift over to my state because I don't want my constituents getting sick. So it's hard to enforce laws like that, right? Like obviously nobody can control the weather in terms of where the stuff's going to drift, but really interesting times in terms of those aspects of environmental justice and environmental equality. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. The second thing I want to point out is, one second. Um, how should I approach this? So, like I've mentioned before on here, that if there's something you want to do, you should never slam the door on your own face. You should fight as hard as you can to meet the qualifications or apply or whatever you need to do um, to reach your goals. But you should never look at something and be like, that'll never happen to me. I can never make that happen. Why should I even bother applying or trying? And so it's easy to have that mentality. I had it recently. I have it not just recently, I have it often. And so I was meeting with my mental health professional this week. And no, I'm sorry, last week. These weeks are blending together. So I met with him last Friday, and he was just talking about how a situation, we were, talking about a situation. And he's like, well, let me play devil's advocate. What happens if the positive happens? And I'm like, well, this would happen. And he's like, okay, now what happens if the downside, if the negative thing happens in terms of the situation? And I was like, well, chances are that's going to be the way it's going to happen, is what I told him. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's negative mentality, negative thinking. Like, we need to stop that. And so, yes, it's like I always say, it's real easy to beat ourselves up and think in terms of like, hey, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, why bother? This is probably how it's going to turn out. And of course, I'm still going to move forward and hope for the best. But um, I feel, some people might say I'm a pessimist, but I consider myself a realist in terms of like knowing the chances of like, we'll just take my astronaut dreams, for example. I'm going to fight tooth and nail for the next 6 years to stack my resume in the hopes of being a competitive astronaut applicant. But chances of getting selected are slim to none, regardless of how awesome my resume is. Just because I think they select 15 people, 20 people a year, or maybe it's like 30. And then maybe half don't graduate because it's 2 years of training. But anyway, so I'm not going to slam that door in my face. Is becoming an astronaut realistic? No. But I'm not going to stop myself from trying to reach that dream. So I'm going to push forward in everything that I got. So coming back around to what I was talking about before, not slamming the door in your face, I also want to loop in with that respect, because I feel a lot of the times these days people don't have, I can't say they don't have respect, but they just find it hard to put themselves in your shoes, which may be, or in anybody else's shoes, which may come across as disrespectful. And they maybe not, don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's just hard for them to, you know, to see themselves in that situation, I guess, and not empathize. So I just want to point out that you should always be respectful, especially, if you're at university and you're getting to graduate with a degree and going into the professional world, as crazy as you want to get on people, and myself included, a lot of times, that's why I talk to my mental health person and go on runs, because it helps to relieve that stress, anxiety, and frustration. And so always stay professional. But with that, you have to also advocate for yourself. So the easiest way I can explain it is, for me, in a situation recently, I was trying to figure things out, and I got told to not try to figure things out. And I'm like, okay, I can manage that. But at this point, if you want me to sit back while you figure things out, that's fine, but I need you to figure things out, right? So the way I explained it yesterday to somebody was, if you want me to stay quiet and you want to be my voice, then that's what you need to be. You need to be my voice. And my voice is very loud, so I need your voice to be very loud for me. Because, yeah, if you're not going to advocate for me, I need to advocate for myself. And that goes for anybody out there, because there's a lot of people, managers, bosses, whatever, who are busy in their own right, maybe don't get to see, and hopefully don't micromanage, so they don't get to see all of your great hard work and all the things you do every day to help an organization grow and thrive. But yeah, man, I mean, it's as simple as that. Just give respect and know that you need to be your voice. Because, like I've mentioned it before, I learned that in business school, which is really kind of crazy. Um, and it's so obvious, right? Like, if you want something, you have to speak up and use your voice, whether that's a raise, whether that's a promotion, whether that's vacation time, like whether that's whatever, you need to speak up, use your voice, and always be respectful, and and do so in a professional manner. But with that said, like I said, it's just I don't feel like it's that hard, honestly. I think it makes sense, and it seemed to make sense to the people I talk to. So, you know, so if someone tells you, take a seat, I'm gonna try to take care of this for you. Of course, let some time pass by, let them get their work done. But yeah, it's easy to be told to stay quiet, but it's not so easy to be the voice of 1,000 people. So if you need people to stay quiet, it's, dependent on the situation, of course, but more than likely it's better to have people who aren't afraid to use their voice and aren't afraid to speak up in a respectful manner. So with that, we're going to take a quick music break and come back for the last bit of RGV Community Health Hour. Thanks. Oh, excuse me. All right, everyone. So with my last couple of minutes of the show, like I mentioned before, just real quick to wrap this up, the organization from Elvia Gibbs, our first guest this month, who shared her breast cancer story, it's TTSTatasFoundation.org is the link to their organization, and that is TITIS TTs TATAS tistatas.foundation.org. So again, TITISTATAS foundation.org. So go give them a look at their organization, support them if you can, reach out for help if you need it. And other than that, everyone, I hope y'all are doing well. Be sure to stay safe, stay healthy, and always, with this crazy flu going on, so many kids are sick. My daughter has been sick for the last few weeks, so hope everybody out there is taking care of themselves. So that's all I got, everybody. Stay curious, stay healthy, and let's thrive together. RGV.